Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. Joe Anthony here. We are live broadcasting to all four corners of the world today. And this topic today is going to be pretty awesome because it deals with something that is a hard fact, hard reality, statistically proven. I'm going to be inviting another network marketing person with me to join. Let me add them and we'll be right back with you.
Are you there?
Good morning. Good morning. Had a little technical difficulty. I was just having a slow browser moment. So, that happens every now and then. But we are live. Good morning. We have Suzanne Elaine, all the way from Canada, joining us.
Morning.
So, welcome to you. And again, welcome to our crowd, our audience. We're going to be talking about some interesting things that pertain to the network marketing industry. We're sort of focusing on how the momentum phase of your network marketing program will do this year in 2020. Like, what place or where will you be? Where will your network marketing program be on this chart? So we're using this chart, which is pretty cool chart, and I am basically looking at talking about the different steps and where your network marketing company is. Well, first of all, let's just talk about the chart. So there is a sequence that happens in business and in the business world with different businesses, different concepts, different technologies, such as we've seen with Facebook, we've seen with Apple, like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates with Microsoft. Every time something new happened, you had something that started it, the trigger of that new technology. And we call them innovators. So in most businesses, you would have an innovator who comes up with this great, brilliant idea, like some of these names that I've mentioned, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, or even others. We're going to be talking about one specific technology that Suzanne Elaine is involved in, and I'm also involved in as well, that is pretty interesting in terms of where it is in the curve with this momentum curve, because once you understand how the curve works, then it can help you determining if your network marketing program is like past the momentum or beginning before the momentum. It's kind of like a surfer when they try to catch a wave, right? That surfer wants to get that wave so they can ride that wave out, but they don't want to be too late because they'll miss the wave. If they're too early, the wave doesn't have enough momentum to carry them all the way to shore. So it's that same type of concept. So we're going to talk about that. Can you hear me okay, Suzanne?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can. Sorry, I'm just having my coffee.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
So here's what I wanted to do. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about the innovators, because the percentage of people that fall into the innovator group is very small. We know that it's like 2%, 2.5% of people that are in the population that come up with these brilliant new innovations that people either buy into or they don't. If it's a technology that can solve a problem, which is what we refer to that today. Today it's like, okay, what problem do you solve? Like, that's the innovator's job, right? So the innovator is going to solve the problem. So then you have, I'm just going to go through them and then we're going to come back, Suzanne, and then we're going to focus on a particular technology that you and I are excited about and where it is in this curve, like where this particular technology is in this curve. So what happens when you have an innovator, let's just take the flat screen TV. Let's say before flat screen TVs came out, what did you have? You just had regular tube TVs, and then there were some solid state TVs that came out, but they were big and bulky and heavy, and it was like a piece of furniture, right? Back.
Oh yeah, those big reflective ones. Remember the ones
Goodness.
that were the size of like a huge car on its end? Yeah.
Totally. And so what we have today, though, is pictures, like wall art that you can hang, and it basically can hang on a wall or over your mantle, fireplace, whatever, what have you. But they're like all over now. You see these TVs in sports bars. You go in, they've got 20, 30, 40 TVs. Man, it's like amazing. And they're just these flat monitor type screens, right? But when they first came out, the innovator came out with these. They were so expensive, right? That who would really purchase them? People who were in that early adopter category, right? That's what percentage? What percentage would you guess, Suzanne, were early adopters? If you had to pick
early
a percentage.
Maybe 10%.
Very close. Yeah, 13.5%.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. So can you imagine, of all those people that paid $10,000, $20,000 for those first plasma TVs, those flat screen TVs, only 13.5% of them. And then what happened as the early adopters started using them and manufacturers started to see, hey, there was more interest in them. So that curve started to go higher. And now we started to have what's called the early majority. And that's when manufacturers start to say, oh, we got to find a way to mass produce these things, because now it isn't just 13.5%, but now what would you imagine that early majority percentage is if you had to pick a number, Suzanne?
The entry level?
Early majority of people, right?
Yeah, okay. So maybe about 45%.
Awesome. 34%. That's excellent. Yeah. So if that happens, a manufacturing company, they start out with just the few early adopters. They test it. They say, wow, this thing is great. But they also have to reduce the price. So they have to make it affordable, right?
Right.
And that's when the early majority starts to say, hey, this thing is pretty cool. Unless you're Apple. Apple seems like they don't lower the price, they increase the price, and people will pay.
I know. People line up, and yeah,
Yeah, people line up,
yeah.
and now,
It's the
just
culture. It's the culture. Yeah.
exactly. And that's a great point, because what you're seeing with these early adopters is they create this culture that now creates the early majority, or motivates the early majority to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I want an iPhone too. They're just not going to wait like 24 hours, sit in line or whatever. They're going to wait till now there's more availability. And then they're going to be the ones to now start purchasing iPhones, for example.
Right.
And then the next phase after you get the early majority is the late majority. So you've got the majority, but you've got the early and you've got the late. Combined, that makes up almost 70%. So
Wow,
can you
that's
imagine?
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So what we're looking at, guys, is we're trying to figure out in network marketing to apply the same formula in network
Mm-hmm.
marketing. Because if you can figure out where your company is in terms of early adopters, early majority, late majority, and then of course we have to talk about the laggards. Now the laggards,
Poor
what's
people.
interesting, yeah, right. They are like ultra skeptics. That's kind of how you would look at the laggards. The
Right.
laggards are people that still want horse and buggy, and they want to still use their rotary dial telephones, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's who the laggards are. Unfortunately, that's just life in the big stream of things, and you really aren't going to get anywhere with laggards. If you spend all your time, and I think it's like 12 to 16% make up the laggards. So you've got the early adopters, 13.5%, and then you've got the laggards, which are somewhere around 13 to 16%. Those are the two ends of the spectrum. Where
Mm-hmm.
we want to be in our network marketing company, anyhow, is we want to look for a company that we can be considered the early majority. Because from the early majority till the late majority is where you get 70% attrition. And that's what you want. You want people who are going to make a decision to jump in or jump
Mm-hmm.
out. And we want to be when they're jumping in, like when the fish are jumping in the boat, right?
That
You
would
just
make
have,
sense.
right? You
Mm-hmm.
just cast your net, and then bam, you're going to have all these fish coming in because everybody wants to come in, 70%. And that's what we're going to help people decide today. So we're going to talk about a new technology. Again, we're talking about innovators, right? There's a gentleman by the name of David Schmidt back in 2004, I think it was, Suzanne, maybe even earlier, was a scientist,
2003,
technology,
2004. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? And kind of give us a background. What did this David Schmidt, what was his thing, and how is he today, like a big thing today? Kind of walk us through
Right.
that.
Right. Well, without going into crazy, crazy details, he he knew that there was something that he wanted to bring forth um, to reach as many people as possible for um, health and wellness and vitality. And he started off with some um, basic approaches in research that was actually driven by his role um, through the military, or the U.S. military. The um, U.S. military commissioned him to um, work with the Navy SEALs in creating a technology that would be suitable for them to be able to work in sustained periods with energy while they're doing their maneuvers. When they were, perhaps in um, maybe in the submarines, or wherever they were. So he he realized or knew about um, principles of how the body worked and the systems within the body, and what needed to be stimulated down to the cellular level. So in his lab, he realized that light um, that could be used to help stimulate the body, just the same way as uh, light from the sun helps to stimulate vitamin D and vitamin D into our body, and we synthesize that ourselves, but through the UV light. Uh, in his lab, he was amazed by simply being able to use simple like amino acids and vegan organic crystals to come up with a particular way to modulate the wave. And so, well, where's the light coming from, right? It's fascinating because we're like little batteries. We have electromagnetic frequencies within our own bodies. That's why it feels good to be barefoot on the grass. And we emit our own light. It's called infrared light. And a lot of people are using infrared, in saunas and stuff, but this is even better because David created this patch for the military to help sustain energy. And those are the energy enhancers. So that was amazing. And from there, because he was only looking for one little thing, but just how innovators are in science or any other innovation, if you want to look at it, he knew that there was something more. And he knew he was looking for something and looking for little molecules. So by expanding his search and casting his net, he knew that through the works of Dr. Lauren Picard, a PhD, is a scientist and biologist, and has a whole bunch of other credentials, that the GHK copper peptides is a very small molecule within the body. If that is activated, which it sort of deactivates as we get older, all to do with signs of aging, that molecule is the molecule that's necessary to aid our own stem cells. So if that is activated, then it nourishes our stem cells, as it also helps to recreate our own stem cells. So that is what he created. And it sounds so far out there, and it's so simple for users to wear. You slap on a patch. And it's really only the people who are very open to cutting edge technologies, just like those first people who bought the Apple computer, right? They they wanted it, they had to have it, they knew it was going to help their lives so much, and they adopted it. And same too is this wellness patch. It's so many testimonials. We're going to have a separate segment on the testimonials, but I am so thankful for David Schmidt's technology to assist everybody. I say to people, if you're over the age of 15, you need this. And I actually, because of with the coronavirus that's sweeping across the world, and many are where there's quarantines happening, and but a lot of people are still wondering as to how they can help to support the immune system. So
Yeah.
I just say, you know what? Get these patches on you. It helps to increase your own frequency. It works within your body naturally. It's non-invasive, 100% safe. There are no side effects, except if you want a side effect of becoming younger. And within a younger system, you get all your other systems, there's 12 systems in the body that are supported. So thank you, David.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of went off a little bit there. Sorry, I get so excited over this, and I want so many people to have in their hands, and this is what David wants. I was in Vegas, and it was an amazing conference I was in, and it was just, the energy was electric in that place. And I just want people to open up their minds and take a look at the science. I mean, they are launching to want to be in 100 countries. I think we're at 35 countries now. But this is the time to get in. This is that sweet spot that they always talk about for involvement. And I am so happy that I am within that group where I was introduced to this. And please, like, don't think about it. There's a sampling policy of 30 days of sampling that you can get your money back. And I can't encourage you enough, and especially if it's something that you want a business option that is supported, and you're given an opportunity to create wealth for your family and flexibility within your schedule to go out and play with the kids and or get down with the grandkids. Um, do that mud run. Compete for that body fitness. Um, what do you call those things, Joe? When people bodybuilding,
There you
right?
go.
Bodybuilding, yeah, bodybuild, yeah, bodybuilders, and uh, y- it's going to help every part of your life. And I would say that's mind, body, and spirit, right? You've got the trilogy of of those three things that are necessary. And in order to nourish your health, wealth, and happiness, you need to find something that you're really engaged in that helps you get on with your day, get on with your life, and be fulfilled. I feel like I'm, operating again back at age 32. Some days I feel like I'm 25. Um, oh, geez, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, honestly, I felt like I was like 90 years old. It was just nasty. So,
That's awesome. So
yeah.
what Suzanne was talking about, guys, is that this new technology, because it started from an innovator point of view, I wanted to just kind of give you a little curve just to show you when you're looking at a network marketing company, you want to look at the stages that it's in, right? Because if you are an early adopter, it's going to take a while for you to make some serious money with that opportunity, that program, because
Mhm.
only 13.5% are really even getting involved, right? So the innovator has to have stick to itiveness. They have to have staying power. They have to be able to hang in there until it gets to that early adopter, gets past that phase, and then into the early majority. Once it starts in the early majority, that's when you want to join a particular network marketing group, whatever, if it's new technology, if it's in health and wellness, if it's in other areas, you want to be that early adopter, early majority. So if you come in at the early adopter, that's okay. You're just going to have to hang out there more and really work longer at it. But the ones who come in now, the ones who come in when they're in the early majority and stay all the way to the late majority, that's 70% of
Mhm.
people that are going to join that particular program. And that's where people start making some serious income. Because if you can look at the curve, you can see where that curve is. You can see the shaded portion that's in blue, right? If you look at the early majority is in blue and it goes all the way and it rides it all the way down to the late majority.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
70%, right? The red
Yeah.
you want to stay away from. Those are the skeptics. We call those laggards in this terminology, right? The laggards, again, they're the ones that are like, hey, I want rotary. I'm going to keep using my rotary dial telephone, even though everybody has a smartphone. They're not going to change, right? They're going to stay with riding their little horse and buggy. And, they're going to drive that 1910 Ford until it goes into the ground. I mean, that's the mentality. They're skeptics.
Mhm.
They're skeptics. The visionaries are on the front end. The visionaries are on the front end. Like the innovators, you could say, are like visionaries.
Mhm.
David Schmidt, who you were talking about, Suzanne, that's a visionary. That's somebody who saw this technology making changes into people's health, right? like old technology, I'll give you old health technology. About 45 years ago, a company started in the ionization. They developed an ionizer machine that was able to take tap water and convert it into alkaline water that would use a process of electrolysis and would turn regular tap water, putting a filter on it, taking out the chlorine, but it would shock and kill every type of bacteria that was in that water because of the electrolysis. Having electricity in these plates that would be in this device, then when the water came out, it also had a high antioxidant, right? And, of course, you have to drink it. You have to, turn on your faucet. You have to wait for it to come out. Very high in hydrogen infused molecules, and it even restructures the water, makes it very small, like it can absorb and be assimilated much quicker, much faster. And so it got some really amazing attention, back in like I said, about 45 years ago. The innovators, the visionaries, saw that this was going to provide some amazing health.
Sorry, Joe, my connection is kicking out, so I might drop off. So I don't know, something's going on with my connection here.
Well,
sorry.
You seem to still be, we can see you. I mean, we can still see you and still hear you. So hopefully you don't drop out. If you do, we'll understand. But so basically, we have this concept of new technology, how long it takes to reach the early majority, and then how long that early majority and late majority will last. And when you're looking to join a particular opportunity program, network marketing program especially, is what we're focused in. That's what you want to have as indicators, guys. So how do you know where that company is? Well, is it in the early stages? Is it in the middle? Is it toward the end? Those are the questions that we wanted to help, because right now we're looking at a company that has launched a product about 12 months ago. And we're in that phase. We're in that early adopter phase, just going into the early majority. And 2020 is going to be mostly early majority. And that's when we see the best time to get involved, is when you have the early majority. Looks like we dropped Suzanne, and I am going to kind of leave it right there, guys. If you're interested, just visit Forever Young. If you want to get more information, go to Forever Young, this particular program that we're looking at, and I will put up the link. Is, let's see, let me just add that really quick here, guys. It is, so it's just, I don't know if you can read it down at the bottom, but it's just Forever Young X39. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks for your watching. And, like Suzanne had mentioned earlier, sample it. You can sample it. You can sample it for 30 days, no risk. And I recommend that everybody sample. I did the same thing a few months ago. I sampled it and have been getting amazing results with it, guys. And it has changed the amount of energy. It has changed just how you feel, how you think, cognitive powers, you sleep better. I mean, there's just a whole list of things that it does, guys. So with that, I will say thank you for your sticking around, and go ahead and sample it if you are already sampling it. Great. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you on the next one.